Today on Bike Racing Without Mercy, I undertake a short race on Zwift in order to improve my racecraft. But first, I undertake a climb on Zwift's mountain route using the 100% trainer difficulty setting so as to see for myself if it makes life harder. Welcome to another training video on Bike Racing Without Mercy, and today I'm taking on the mountain route in Watopia in order to hone my climbing skills. But I'm also having a bit of an experiment, because during the Giro d'Italia TT stage I observed that during the steeper inclines my avatar remained seated while many other avatars were standing and mashing down hard on the pedals. Now I attributed that to the fact that I prefer a lower gear and a higher cadence and a smooth pedalling technique. However, since my quest has started, I've been subscribing to a number of other cycling channels on YouTube, and one of my favourites is Cycling Hub with Chris Pritchard. And one of the subjects he covered with his friends was both super funny and a little bit sobering. It related to training difficulty on Zwift. Now the key argument between Chris and his colleagues on this video related to the fact that it doesn't matter whether you're on 0% trainer difficulty or 100%. You still have to put down the same wattage and power to achieve the same speed for any given incline. So if I'm on a flat, I want to go at 40 kilometers an hour. Whether I'm on 0% or 100%, I still have to lay down 300 watts. So nothing to see here then, all's well. Save one small but very inconvenient truth, that as the incline ramps up, the argument becomes a bit more opaque. Because for example, if I'm on training difficulty 50% and I'm on a 8% incline and I want to go 20 kilometers an hour, that means I have to lay down again, say 300 watts. But if I'm on a 50% training difficulty, the gearing and resistance I need to achieve that 300 watts will be 50% easier than in real life. So I can be in a higher gear and still maintaining a nice fast cadence and smooth pedaling technique and remain seated. Whereas if I'm on training difficulty 100%, I'll be in probably a lower gear, maybe gear 1 or 2, in order to maintain that nice smooth pedaling technique and high resistance. Now, as the resistance ramps up, say 12, 13%, if I'm on training difficulty 50%, I just drop down through the gears and continue, nice and smooth and seated. Whereas if I'm on training difficulty 100%, I quickly run out of gears. I'm in gear 1, my cadence drops, and I have to rise up out of the saddle and start mashing down hard on the pedals. And that's much less efficient from an energy perspective, because I start burning through my muscle glycogen a lot quicker and have to spend much more time stabilizing the upper body because I'm up out of the seat. So I had a quick look at my own trainer difficulty settings on Zwift, and I realized that since I've started Zwift, I've been on 50%. As a result, I've decided to increase the difficulty to 100% and see what all the fuss is about. Hence, I'm taking on the mountain route today. So just coming up to 4.7 kilometers at the foot of the climb. I'm going to try and remain seated and keep the wattage below 300. Obviously, it won't be a challenge to keep the wattage below 300, but what I'm trying to say is I don't really want to burn myself out. Seven kilometers in, and I've been able to remain seated for the most part, well, nearly all of it actually. Just coming to the first finish. I think I am on a slightly lower cadence than normal. 8.6, just coming to the second citadel. Still seated, but the incline hasn't got really above 7%. Using the false flat for a bit of recovery, or the flat for a bit of recovery. Up to 7%, still seated. But the gears are dropping low, I'm in gear 3 now. Up to the balloons. .3, still seated. But again, we haven't gone above 7 really. .7%. There, one gear. 4. Now 3. The gear changes are a lot more volatile. I'm using many more gears. .500 meters to go to the KOM. Right, now had a really hard incline to come. I'm just taking it a bit easy on the flat. Straight to gear 1. Okay, try and pace myself now. I think the inclines grow to about 16%. I can really feel the glute and the hamstring working. I warm them up in the gym beforehand with some front squats and single leg deadlift. This is hard. Cadence is right down at 55. Requires a lot more strength. .16. Very hard. Thought it was flattening off to 13, 11, 12, but not. Seated again at 11. Not easy. That was hard. I'll just collect myself and report back. I'm now on the descent and it feels a bit easier on training difficulty 100%. But certainly the inclines were tougher because as I got past 10% incline, I was dropping down into gear 1 and 2. And certainly beyond 10 it was gear 1, and my cadence dropped off from 70, 75 down into the 50 to 60 range. And I had to rise up out of the saddle and utilise a lot more glute and hamstring as well as quad in order to sustain the required wattage. And by involving more muscles and burning more glycogen, my energy stores will run down faster. Also, of importance to note, at training difficulty 100%, you use a lot more gears. Whereas transitioning from incline to decline, I may only do 1 or 2 or 3 extra gears. Now, there's many more. And so you can easily get yourself in the wrong gear unless you're thinking further ahead. So all in all, see, just as I have done here, see higher gear, 26% incline. So all in all, I think I'm going to stick at training difficulty 100%, because ultimately, when I go on holiday, I like to hire a bike and enjoy riding outside without the watts and the power meters and all that kind of stuff. But equally, I want my training to be a little more realistic. So thank you, Chris Pritchard, for creating yet another difficulty in my quest. Welcome to Thursday morning on Bike Racing Without Mercy, and today's a training day where I'm looking to hone my bike racing skills. And with the blessing of the gods of bike racing, today I'm going to seek some inspiration and motivation from an entire team. A very fine old world cycling team that's decided to blend in a bit of new world talent in a quest for Tour de France glory. I refer, of course, to Lotto Soudal. United, the team managed to make it 8th and 11th time perfect in order to place their Australian sprinter Caleb Ewing in prime position to aero power his way to victory. And this required none other than breakaway boss Mr. Thomas de Ghent and holder of the 1 hour world record in a time trial, Victor Campenaerts, to take charge of setting the pace on the peloton in order to ironically reel back in the breakaway on both occasions over 200 kilometres. And this enabled the Lotto Soudal lead-out train to place their man, Caleb Ewing, perfectly to allow him to slipstream his way to victory past Ackerman on both occasions. So I'm kind of hoping that some of Lotto Soudal's magic is going to wear off on me today. It's about 15 seconds from the start of 3 hours Greater London flat race. It's just 1 lap because it's a training day today. Big acceleration at the beginning as normal. I think there's quite a long lead in on this one. Just coming through the tunnel, it'll take us onto the embankment. And stoically, I'm avoiding a turn on the front. Trying to take David Miller's advice to surf the wheels and stay out of the wind, the virtual wind. I think that some of these shorter races are going to help me hone my racecraft and ultimately help win a longer race in the Cat A on Zwift. So I'll keep chucking them in as part of my structured training. But for the next few sessions on the bike, I'll be back to more structured sessions on either Zwift or Wattbikes Hub. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the result because I completed the 16.8 kilometers in 24 minutes and 9 seconds, averaging 297 watts and 4.4 watts a kilogram. And that's pretty solid stats for me. And yes, I very much did get dropped from the Premier Breakaway group once again. However, I stayed in the second gruppetto and took plenty of turns on the front. So I'm pretty happy with that because I set the pace and took on the virtual air resistance and played my part of the team. And also, I'm pretty happy that I managed to deploy an out of the saddle sprint at the very end, getting over 600 watts. Now that's not up to the standards of Caleb Ewing or Kendall Ryan, but nonetheless, it's a start. So overall, not bad. None of this is advice. You do whatever it is that you want to do. But please remember, whoever you are and whatever you do, live, thrive, and subscribe.